Baby, don't lay right there. It's hot. Oh. Okay, y'all. So I couldn't really record this. So I figured I'd put it on the live and then you guys will get whatever you need from it. So I've been fasting for the past few days. Well, first of all, I've been in grief for months now. And I hadn't addressed it publicly because I couldn't. It was a family grief, and for a really long time, I'm still trying to make peace with it. I lost my uncle at the beginning of the year, and the information behind losing him has just been unsettling, and it's as if he passed and he never existed, and my family just doesn't, you know. But my uncle was like my brother. He was my best friend. He was one of the most conscious beings I'd ever met in this world. And ever since I was a little girl, he always told me, you're special and you're different, and you have to make sure that you become who you're supposed to for this world. But you first have to find yourself. And I'm not gonna lie, it's taken me 37 years, but we're finally here. And so I've been dealing with that. And then, you know, other losses within the family, and my foundation has changed. Just overall, a lot of things that I was used to, it's just not the same, right? And so I've been processing that. And I've been doing all of it while still being in temple, like I call it. God has separated me from a lot of things. I don't know if you guys can hear me because this is sitting on that. But anyways, and so a lot of things has been happening, but God has been teaching me experiences and lessons. God has been teaching me lessons through experiences. And I realized that because I don't exchange a lot with the world, I have to learn the lessons immediately through those that are closest to me, right? And so I recently had an opportunity of learning a lesson in regards to when someone means well for you versus them doing right by you. And now that's very easy. Most people say, well, that's easy to know. But in the world we live today, we see that a lot of people mean well, but are they doing right? And so this is something that I've understood, but to overstand it through experience so that I can assist others is what God wanted me to do. Because as a person who is not only connected to spirituality, but also understanding that we are spirits having a human experience, and the human experience isn't always all that great. It's filled with traumas and tribulations and shifts and all that different type of stuff. And being certified to assist people in recovering from those things, I've realized that there's a lot that I have to go through in order to do this, right? And I allow myself to. However, recently, like I said, the lesson between meaning well and doing right came up. And today, at Rise, all day, the ancestors kept saying it. Like, they mean well, but they don't do right. They mean well, but they don't do right. And so I'm like, what are you talking about? And so at 12:12, there was like, look, go outside, study time. And so I came outside and I started studying. And then God was like, this is something you got to share. Somebody else needs it, right? And so it's 1 p.m. now. And I'm sitting out here processing, studying, understanding. And in my recent encounter that I had where I learned the lesson, I remember in the beginning telling God, you gonna teach me something with this one, huh? And I remember thinking, ain't I learned enough? And then he was like, nope, new levels, new devils. And so I find myself here today, right? And so I've realized that a lot of people mean well in our lives. Family, friends, acquaintances, employers, they mean well, but generally it's because out of meaning well, there's something in there for them. But are they doing right by you? Meaning, are they contributing to your growth morally, ethically, spiritually, foundationally? You know, is their actions physically attributing to that growth and that expansion of you? And so I did a lot of research. I was studying, and this time, like, there are scriptures that you can actually read to where, like Jesus tells you, do unto others as you want others to do unto you, but people don't really practice that. And so just overall, in the understanding, the definition and the context of it, when someone means well, it's because they have good intentions and positive motives. However, it's always for a positive outcome for themselves versus doing right. When someone is doing right, it's based on the moral principle of the situation, whether it benefits them or not. And when you actually go in and you Google it, I love how they have like the key differences. So the core concept of meaning well would be good intentions versus doing right, which is moral correctiveness. The focus of meaning well would be an internal state or a motive, benefiting, versus doing right, which is an external action or the outcome of what they're fueling. The goal in meaning well is to do what is perceived as good. The goal of doing right is to do what is objectively and morally correct. The conflict between those, the action that meaning well can still be wrong, harmful, and based on selfish motives. And the conflict of doing right can be sometimes difficult and painful, but based on ethical principles rather than personal desires. And so I'm going to use my examples. I recently had an exchange with an acquaintance where we both ultimately meant well for each other. However, through the exchange, hold on, plane. Through the exchange, I realized that there were certain things that weren't right. And so I went into temple and I studied and I reflected and I spoke to God, allowed the Holy Spirit to bring information to me. I exchanged it with the person. We conversed back and forth about the dialogue. We even just entertained based on certain exchanges. Like there was a lot of spiritual dialogue, physical dialogue, just ultimate exchange, which was great, which was beautiful. It was a learning experience for me, but also a blessing in disguise, because despite the fact that there were certain things that seemed out of place for the human eye, spiritually, the time and the knowledge and the energy I was investing was for the right reasons. Now, I know the person meant well for me. They wanted the best for me. However, morally, ethically, and spiritually, what they were contributing wasn't aligned with the experience or the journey and path and purpose that God has me aligned to. I'm not saying that the person is a bad person. I'm not saying I'm a good person. I'm not saying I'm a bad person. I'm not saying the person is a good person. I'm just saying that overall, the exchange made me learn a lot. It made me learn that despite the fact that I'm a oh, hold on, we got somebody breaking into the yard. Okay, we gotta end this, but we'll get back to it later.